Hmm. Welcome, everybody, and happy Navaratri. It's so wonderful to get to practice together on a holiday. On holidays, there's extra energy available, extra energy for us to soak up and use for our spiritual growth. And I find that it's easier to use that energy well when we're together and we're dedicating our time to practice. So the beginning of Navaratri celebrates Durga. She's pictured here on a tiger, and she's pretty fierce. She's also very loving and supportive, and she helps us clear away a lot. And sometimes that's challenging, sometimes that's blissful, but it's always necessary as we take these steps to realizing our full potential. So I thought before we do our yoga practice, we could just do a little bit of Durga Mantra together. It's written on the screen, Om Hreem Shreem Doom Durgaye Namaha. And we'll have a lot of space to take an inhale before we repeat the mantra again. And so we'll just do a few repetitions to get tuned in before we move a little bit. Do you want to do the mantra now? So if you're not already sitting comfortably, take a moment to consciously adjust your seat, becoming more present and aware of the physical body. And then take a couple of breaths, becoming aware of the inner space. Will you chant with me a little? And we'll begin. Om Hreem Shreem Doom Durgaye Namaha. 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 You're always welcome to continue repeating the mantra silently with your breath. You can also imagine that the link has been made, and just by breathing consciously, you're absorbing that energy with or without the mantra. And so let's begin. Can you please zoom out and everything? And we're going to start on our bellies. I guess you got to move everything out of the way. So take a quarter turn to the left, and very slowly and very gently start to paw the hands forward and step the knees back, and let the body slowly start to melt with support towards the earth, always moving in a supported way. Stack the hands elbows wide. You can move your block off to the side. You won't need it for a little bit. And rest the forehead on the hands and just slowly tune into your breath. And let the breath be full yet natural. And I know it's a tricky mantra, but you can try saying it to yourself. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. And that's your exhale. And then just a slow, full inhale. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. And just one more breath like that. And then slowly start to lengthen the crown of the head forward. Let the heart get really buoyant and light, just lifting the head up so that you can extend the arms forward and then release the head back down. Start to drag the hands back until they're underneath the shoulders. Keep them anchored under the shoulders, but keep energetically dragging the hands back and just notice what wakes up underneath the shoulders and along the spine. And then release that and soften and take a couple of pulses, dragging and releasing. And as you continue to play with that and the shoulders start to drag down the back, give yourself the opportunity to float the head, but you don't have to. And then sync this with the breath. So the exhale allows you to release, and the inhale allows you to float just like a balloon, filling up. If you're feeling Vata today, maybe don't use that image. A hot air balloon, so it's really warm and grounding, and there's a picnic basket in there. Maybe that helps. And the next time you float up, extend the left arm forward, push into the right hand, and just roll onto the left side. And this should be really comfortable, so make any adjustments that would help that to be a reality. Maybe bending the knees, maybe lengthening the hand forward. Make sure there's no tension anywhere, and then just start to rock forward and back. And it can be really small. And the only rule is that it has to feel good, and you actually have to feel it. You have to notice the weight shifting. Imagine you can draw the breath to the inner space that's being massaged. And see if you can release any physical tension, maybe even beyond physical. And then slowly lengthen the legs back out, roll onto the belly, and we'll do one cobra and then go to the other side. So stretch both hands forward, slowly drag the hands back, let the front of the body lengthen just a little bit. And then slide the right hand forward, push into the left hand, roll onto the right side. Make your adjustments, connect with your breath, and then just start rocking. And depending on your day and what's going on with you, slowing down is usually helpful. I like to pretend that I'm not a solid form anymore, and I'm just starting to ooze and spread out like hot fudge. Take one more breath. And then straighten the legs, slowly reach the left arm overhead, and notice how that allows you to melt back onto the belly. And then drag the hands back just an inch so they're still forward, and then lift the right foot and energetically reach the right foot back, and just notice how the whole body can lengthen. Great. And then cross the right leg over the left, but keep the right hand pinned down. So it's almost like you want to roll onto your side again, but the right hand is countering it. Great. And then we'll go to the other side. So slowly reach the right foot back and then switch feet. And so now the left hand will really reach and oppose the left foot. And then just take a moment to come back to center. Drag the hands back into your baby cobra. And then lengthen the left hand out, lengthen the right hand out, and let the right foot reach behind you. And so each time you come through center, option for a cobra with the hands in front, or you can just go right on over to the other side, depending on what your body needs. This is a really fun way to just start integrating the limbs into the core so your whole body is working as one. And after the right leg stretches over to the left, you're balanced. Release the right leg down, inch the hands all the way underneath your shoulders, and slowly push the hips to the heels for Bhaktasana. And just take a moment to melt the forward, draw a big circle around the body with the arms, and grab onto the heels. Let the tops of the shoulders relax completely. It almost feels like the arms are just like sliding off of the body. Breathe into any sensations in the shoulders. If you want a little massage here, you can shift the hips from side to side. Getting a little massage in the forehead and the shins, maybe even the calves and hamstrings. And then place the hands underneath the shoulders, push down into the shins, slowly rising up onto the knees, and roll up one vertebra at a time. Place the hands on the hip creases, and we're going to keep the body flat. So it's almost like you're a plank of wood here. And just bend the knees a little bit so that you float back and then come forward. Hi, Annapurna. Great to see you. And this doesn't have to be intense. You don't have to go to your end range. But this is a really nice way to turn on the quads and release tension in the hip flexors by actually strengthening them. And always integrating back to the core, the deep core that stabilizes us all day long. And just make sure you're aware of the breath. We'll do one more. And then place the hands down for tabletop. Step the hands forward, one hand print, and then push into the hands to send the hips back to the heels, rounding the spine. Flatten the feet if they're not already, and then push down into the shins. And as you do that, notice how the body gets a little lighter and wants to start floating up. Let that happen. Keep pushing down into the shins, rounding the spine forward until the shoulders come over the wrists. Take a breath into the back of the body. And then drag the hands back and wide so that you can open the collarbones. Just a little back bend here. Make sure it's not in the low back, but mostly in the upper spine. And we're going to repeat that again. So push into the hands to send hips back to the heels. It's okay if they don't quite touch. And then push down into the shins, rounding forward through an extended cat pose. Once the shoulders make it to the wrists, drag the hands back and let the front of the body open, but really let the front of the body melt so it doesn't feel like forceful. And just one more on your own. If you want to sync it with your breath, the exhale sends you back, and the inhale slowly rolls you all the way forward from that puffy tabletop and through to our exalted cow. The next time you're in the back bend, inch the knees underneath the hips. Grab your block. If you want to try it, you might not need it. Place the block underneath the left hand. And, oh, actually one more thing before the block. So just place the block between the hands and start by sliding the top of the right foot back and then bringing it in again and switching sides. And repeat this a few times, and something really subtle is happening when you do this. Try moving really, really slow. And this actually turns on your very deep core muscles. It shouldn't feel intense. It should just feel like a brightening, a deep support in the abdominals. And just let each foot gently glide, almost as if you're trying to tiptoe on a wooden floor without making any creaking noises. That's just really delicate movement. The next time the right foot is out, you can actually grab the block, place it underneath the left hand, and push down into the left hand to slowly roll open so the right hand stacks. And take one inhale here to lengthen. And then exhale, slowly release down to where you came. And we're going to repeat that a few times. So the inhale allows you to open. And the block is here because sometimes it can be a little much on the low back. Courtney, try bringing the block more underneath the shoulder and just see how that feels. If it feels better to have it forward, I actually want to try it. Oh, that actually feels really nice. So do whichever you prefer. I like that extra space that creates. Good idea. And the next time you float open, pause here and just start to point and flex the right foot. And then imagine the right leg almost like a pump. Grab onto the block with the left hand, lift the right leg, and then as it lowers, allow it to take the whole body up. Yeah, it's kind of magic. Nice. Let the left foot turn behind you and bend the right knee. Turn the right toes out a little bit so it's like a wide lunge. And lift your block. If you don't have a block, it's okay. You can just interlace the hands like a steeple grip. And push down into the legs. Lengthen up. Take a breath here. And then on your next exhale, gently bend into the right knee and let the rest of the body shift ever so subtly. And then inhale, kick into the leg coming upward, and exhale for that little shift. And make sure there's a lot of weight in that right heel, and you don't want to feel any strain in the hips or the low back. It's a pretty tiny movement. I really enjoy noticing how the back of my leg can wake up and support me a little bit here. Yeah, it's okay. You can feel it if you want to. That can help bring awareness and even turn the hamstrings on. I've needed help getting those muscles to come online. And then the next time you come into the movement, allow the arms to gently circle down and all the way around. And the circle doesn't need to be very big. Make sure that there's no strain in the low back, but start to explore what your body wants to discover here. And see if you can keep tuning into the breath. You might notice the inhale syncs up with a certain part of the circle, maybe not. And then go the opposite direction. And the next time you start to circle over to the left, place the block down. Take one moment in that supported side plank option to hover the right foot, but don't do it if it feels like crampy on the right hip. And then lower the right foot, let it help you float up, and we'll go to the other side. So bring the right knee in, place the block over to the right, and slowly pivot to your tabletop. We'll begin with those leg glides. So just weightlessly, slowly float one leg out at a time, and then bring it back in. I like to extend the leg on an exhale so that I can feel those deep core muscles subtly tighten and engage. It's almost like 1% of what you might experience in like a crunch. That's how subtle it is, but it's important. You guys know how important the subtle things are. The next time the left foot glides out, pause there, bring the right hand onto the block, tuck the left toes under. Sorry, I said right, it should be the left. And then push down into the right hand to slowly stack the body, swiveling open. Let the left heel swivel. And then as you exhale, melt back down and really notice what's happening in the pelvis and the low back here. Let it be really slow so that complex area of the body can organize in a way that feels really supported. And give yourself permission to make any adjustments, maybe bringing the block higher, maybe bringing the block forward a little bit more. I learned that from Courtney. And the next time you're open, pause. Take a natural breath and then just point and flex the left foot. And now we've got our magical weightless transition. Hover the left foot. And as it lowers, let it just lift your body up. Pivot the right shin and then bend the left knee so that the hips open and you're in like a proposal stance. Block reaches overhead. One breath to lengthen, but just keep the ribs in so there's no back bend here. Nice. And then with your own breath, the exhale will ever so gently tip you. The inhale will float you up. And I like to notice how my body just follows that little shift. So the knee bends and then everything else follows. You don't have to go very far. In fact, if you're feeling a deep stretch, I recommend readjusting the left foot so it feels more like building support in the pelvis rather than stretching too much. And then you can add the arms in, so the next time you tip, draw your circle and let the circle be really mindful. And then go the opposite direction. And the next time you're reaching up and over to the right, place the block down at any height that you like and just take one moment either in supported side plank or let the leg hover. If you're letting the leg hover, it might be more comfortable if the hand comes down so that you've got more space to lift the leg. And then set the foot down and drag it in, slowly tilting to your tabletop. Shift the hips back to the heels just like we did before. Take a breath and just notice any sensations in the body. Notice anything that needs a little love. You can make any shifting movements. And then float up, step the hands forward, one handprint. Two options here. Option one is to do those waves just like we did in the first round into Exalted Cow. If you want a little bit more here, tuck the toes under, push into the hands, hover the knees, and send the hips up and back, creating a straight line from the wrists to the hips, really lengthening the hips up and back. And then start to roll forward by pushing into the feet, rounding, just like you do in cat pose, rolling forward into a puffy plank, and then set the knees down, drag the hands back for a nice, easy, exalted cow. Don't think up dog, because then you might just drop the hips or just little back bend. And then you'll take two more on your own, whichever option you enjoyed more. So from Bhaktasana, from down dog. And if it's feeling really good and you're feeling buoyant, it is okay to keep the knees up as you roll forward, and you can do an upward facing dog. Just make sure you don't feel any compression in the low back. It takes those deep core muscles that we were working with earlier. And then your choice, either pause in Bhaktasana if you feel like you need a rest, or pause in Adho Mukha Svanasana if you feel like you just want a little more heat to build before you sit for meditation. Or do both. And then wherever you are, start to walk the hands back to the knees. Lift the hips if they're not already, and let yourself come into a forward fold. Slowly roll up. You can use your hands for support. You shouldn't feel any strain in the low back or the neck. And I couldn't not have you come up to standing for at least one moment. And so just take a moment, allowing there to be space in the front of the hips, and start to go for a really conscious walk around your space. And you can repeat the Durga Mantra again. I'll repeat it with you. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. Make your way back towards your mat. Om Hrim Shrim Dum Durgaye Namaha. And just observe your body for a moment. Though we did pretty simple movements, perhaps there's a sense of support and openness. And see if the space that you're feeling, standing, supported physically, supported pranically, you can keep this sense of lightness and buoyancy as you find your favorite way to sit for meditation. And so now Satyam is going to take over for the second part of class, and we'll all meditate together.
Hello everyone. So these last few weeks we've been working with this concept. I'm going to review it here a little bit before we meditate. That there's 3 phases to every activity during your day. It starts, meaning it's created. It maintains or sustains itself as you participate in that activity. And eventually it comes to an end. And this is every activity in your day. And all of organic life as well, according to the sutras. And so what we see is our attention is usually pretty vivid at the beginning and when we're excited about the task, and it's pretty good at the end when we're relieved that it's over. But the middle space of almost all the tasks of our day really represents our work. That's when we tend to lose focus the most. According to the sutras, quote, losing awareness happens to all yogis. It is the great crisis in the yogic world. All yogis generally experience this state of losing awareness. And so this maintenance phase, this middle phase of your work day, this middle phase of the day, if you think about it, the sunrise and sunset might last an hour, but the day and the night between them are much, much longer. They occupy this huge quantity of time, and as yogis, we're told to hold our awareness, to try and hold it, essentially from the beginning through the middle to the end, and then at the end to also hold it in that transition space till the next thing begins. That we have these little gems built into our day, built into every activity, that we can actually learn how to utilize more consciously. Hold your awareness at the time of entry. The sutras say, hold your awareness at the time of exit. Accomplishing this, the yogi becomes one with the nectar of Turiya, with awareness in all three states. What is the payoff for this kind of work? Because it is work. Here we are at the end of a week. It's Friday. I don't know, not everybody's week is exactly, that whole Monday through Friday schedule, but how can we use the enthusiasm of Friday and sustain that feeling that we have through the transition of the weekend? It would make our weekend a lot better. In fact, according to the sutras, it would make your weekend glitter with the fragrance of Supreme God consciousness. That is definitely the kind of weekend we all hope to have. In fact, if we learn how to do this, the sutras say we will never be without this fragrance of God consciousness, that it will follow us through all the endeavors at every stage of our life, at every step of our day. It's called Sphurana. And so we can do it right now as we're about to practice. At the beginning of practice, your attention is vivid. I'm going to give cues for meditation that will help and support you, but I want you to really anticipate that quiet space in the middle of our practice. Okay, anticipate that time when you are doing the work inside. That defines your practice, those moments. You'll feel better at the end, you feel good right now, but it's those middle moments that define your practice. And so right here at the beginning, just pay attention to your breath flow. Let it be smooth and even. Let yourself really be okay with that middle space of the practice. What am I doing with my breath? Well, I don't know. Just feel it for right now. Can you feel the breath without doing too much to it? What if we did nothing to it? What if we relaxed right now? Actually, consciously relax. Let your shoulders relax. Let your forehead relax. But we stayed present. Consciously relaxing. let your mantra give the mind something to do. You can repeat the mantra so on the exhale, the silent mantra of the exhale, and hum on the inhale. So hum. Let that exhale naturally finish, and then allow the inhale to come to you. And when you feel that little shift, which sometimes can actually feel like you're almost losing focus, stay present. We're so used to only being present when there's activity to focus on. The minute there's no activity, we go unconscious. Persevere through that subtle transition. The moment of boredom, the moment of middle space. Gentle perseverance is the work of the maintenance phase, the middle phase. Imagine there is no finish line. There is only the experience you're having right now. If there's no finish line, does that mean you stop trying? What does it mean to work for the sake of growing? imagine in the room you're in the finest fragrance, the supreme glittering fragrance. Let yourself exhale, and as you inhale, imagine this fragrance coming in through the nose and gently filling the space of the heart. You don't have to breathe it in strongly, it fills you effortlessly. Let your inhales be so fine. Feel the work you're doing. This gentle turning of awareness. This gentle inward turn. So subtle. And as we transition at the end of our practice, we have the dissolving point. Here, our awareness once again naturally becomes more present, without us even trying. As you open the eyes, you're just in the room you're in. And so we're told by the sutras to hold it, to hold this awareness. As we transition into our next activity. And if we can hold our awareness from this point that we're in now through this little transitional space, we'll be ready for that beginning point, and we can hold that too. So, bringing hands together at the heart, and literally picture those hands slightly cupped as if you're holding that awareness. Your breath helps you hold it. And that's really the journey. There's no trick to this next part. It's really up to you. We always have the tools, and it's just a matter of starting to use them. So namaste. Hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you're able to hold your awareness for at least a few minutes after this class, if not longer. And look forward to seeing you soon.